Hello punters and welcome to a Saturday racing preview. Of course, looking at the Flemington meeting tomorrow in this video. 9 race program. At the moment, a heavy 9 track, which is a bit unfortunate. There's still a few showers around, although it has cleared up a little bit today. But I'd suggest we still will be playing that heavy range. But regardless, we're looking at a wet track for a lot of these horses. So interesting way to play, and I'll be interested to see how the track plays out. Of course, Flemington did host the meeting last weekend, so interested to see how this how the track holds up here. It usually is quite good at Flemington, though, I will concede that. So getting straight into it, non-race card. The first race of the card is the Rogan Josh Stayers Trophy. Over 2,500 metres, benchmark 84 race here. Look at the speed, member. I'd suggest that Monmouth and probably Bobo and Main will head them up. Sasco will be usually up towards the pace. National Sound probably press forward. Bit of a tricky gate for Shepherd, who usually likes to be towards the leading division, but from that outside barrier might find a little bit of trouble getting across, at least initially, but you do get a long time in that Flemington straight to get into a prominent enough position. So, but look, and moving now into the former, look, I'm keen here. Starcast is the one that I want to play, number 6 for Anthony Freeman. Now, this is a horse that was a bit disappointing last time out at Sandown over 2,000 metres on heavy track. So that was a disappointing performance considering, like I said, it was its first start on a heavy and we could be playing the heavy track tomorrow. So that does concern me a little bit about this horse, but it's a horse that I think is going to relish to step up in trip. It's a horse that obviously has won over this type distance before. It's won over 2,384 metres in Great Britain. So I think that this is the type distance that this horse has been waiting to step up for, and I think that it will be hard to beat with Mark Zara in the saddle. It is a horse that's had 4 starts on a soft track for a win and 3 placings, so if we get that track downgrade, the confidence for me will grow even more. And this is a horse that did beat Shepherd 2 starts back at Geelong, and that was over the 1,700, and I think the Starcast are only going to get better going out and trip. So I'm going to forgive last time out, especially at Sandown as well. They weren't able to make a lot of ground from the back, so you probably put a pen through that last start performance. It was on a heavy track, which is a little bit concerning because I would have liked to have it to at least run, quite well through the conditions just to give that bit more confidence if we do get the heavy track tomorrow. But regardless, I still think it's got a nice chance. I've got it on top. Have number 1, Cinder Win, who has been really getting really close to a win now. It's had 2 great runs its last 2 starts. The third in the Warrnambool Cup last night to 2 closest son, who did fail last time out, but was seeing, I guess, quite a long distance race in the Andrew Ramsden for the first time, so I can forgive that. Prior to that was second to Hackey. Also beat Vow and Declare home in that run there. So I think that was a good run. Cinnawin's getting really close to a win now, and I think that it really could find a good race here. I think it'll run well. It's just a horse that doesn't usually win out of turn, which is a little bit of a concern. Tom Stockdale's 2 kilo claim brings down for 61.5 down to 59.5, which will definitely see it be competitive, I think. So I do give it a chance to run a good race. I've got it in for second. In for third, number 7, Shepherd, who was dominant last time out, beating Artie Lucas at Barrett. Artie Lucas since come out and smacked him during the week on Wednesday. So the form around Shepherd's really good. But like I said, did finish second at Starcast 2 starts back, and that was over the 700 metres. So interested to see them. Was beaten with 2.3 lengths as well. So for me, I think, the price is probably right because Shepherd did come out last start and win impressively, and that was on a heavy track. So he has proven on a heavy track where Starcaster so far has had won and failed, albeit, like I said, I'll give that a bit of a forgive. But with Peter Moody training this horse now, I'll be interested to see if he can make some further development and run even better here. And 390 is a good enough price, I think, to have a bit of a crack at if you can on it. But number 3, Good Ideas, the other one I'm going to put in for fourth. Was a good run last time out behind Hackey in that same race as Cinder Win. So I'll suggest be around the finish as well. But look, recap the numbers for me. I'm pretty keen. Number 6, Starcaster, stepping out in trip for the first time since he's been in Australia. Obviously, 2000 last time out. I'm willing to forgive that run with the heavy. I think I can run much better here. So I'm going to have it on top. At number 1, Cinder Win in for second. In for third, I've got number 7, Shepherd in for fourth. And number 3, Good Idea. Moving on to race number 2 on the program now. Over the 1,400 metres, the Tom Melbourne Trophy. Of course, recognising the great Tom Melbourne finishing second here. I'd suggest that Immortal Love here will lead the 2-year-olds out and find the top. I think can do so quite nicely. Don't see too many of these other horses being up on the speed. And I think as such it'll be hard to beat. Number 5, Immortal Love. I was impressed with its debut win at Echuca. Did it quite nicely there. Beat Soprano, has since come out, run a couple of consistent races in a row ever since. So I think that the form line's good enough around Immortal Love, and there's been a couple of subsequent winners out of that have gone and won their maidens. So I think Immortal Love's got the good enough form. If it's able to lead them, dictate the terms under Froggy New, it could give a good enough kick and be hard to beat. So I'm going to have it on top ahead of number 1, Coca-Cola, of course, the showdown winner last time out at Caulfield, beat River Knight there. The starting price has been interesting because it started at 21s and 13s so far, and now it comes in this race at $2.20. I do think it's got, like I said, it's got the exposed form and got the best form in the race, but it does have to carry 59.5 kilos, which is a little bit of a concern, and 220 is just rock bottom odds for me. How many times we see favourites in 2-year-old and 3-year-old race get rolled? So a little bit, I've got to look around it for me, so I've got it in for second. You have a third, number 4, Indictment, who can bounce back off its last part disappointment at Morphettville. I was very disappointed with its performance last time out, but if you can forgive that, prior to that, its form was really good. A fourth to Diala and a third to Flying Award. Like I said, I think that Flying Award form is going to be very good and stand up well. So Indictment goes into third for me. Then for fourth, number 2, Rock the Ring. It was very impressive winning last time out, albeit on the better part of the track at Sale there. They did tend to come out wide on that occasion that day. But it beats a Guso who, and I think that was a good enough run to suggest it'll run a good enough race here as well. Definitely will have plenty of chance to wind up down the straight of Flemington. But I'm keen to play number 5, Immortal Love, on top for me, ahead of Kukiko in for second, in for third, number 4, Indictment, in for fourth, number 2, Rock the Ring. Moving on to race number 3 on the program now, and it's the Redkirk Warrior Trophy 3-year-old fillies, benchmark 78 over the 1400 metres. Look at the speed map for this one here. I'd say there'll be quite a bit of pace in this. Jessica Ray and Tubby 2 tracks usually like to get forward in their runs, while Vixen will be up towards the pace. Stratessa and Cordilla from the outside barriers. Interesting to see where they go, whether they press forward or drop back in the field. So a bit of an interesting speed battle. Miss Layla's usually up towards the pace. Definite probably sit around midfield. So yeah, could be a bit of speed in the race, but also could be one where the leaders are able to plonk down and dictate the terms over the 1400 metres. So look, very interesting race here. I'm very keen on number 3, She Shall Fly. I'm hoping they go at a good enough tempo for her to come into the thing. She was excellent last time behind Barbie's Fox first up at Caulfield. She had a long spell prior to that, but that was a very impressive performance. She had great closing sectionals over the last 200 metres, some of the best of the meeting. So she was very impressive there, and I've got to have her on top. I think she gets a very good chance here coming back to Flemington, a track that she has, of course, seen before. She went round in the size produce where it was beaten by La 10. She was disappointing that day, but prior to that, she had some very good form coming in, and as a 2-year-old, she was around some good races as well. She was disappointing last preparation, but obviously, like the stables mentioned, she had a few issues there. She's come back well, and if she can bounce back off that third last start, she can run well enough here. So I'm going to have her on top, ahead of number 8, Les Chevalier, who won last time out at Sand and Lakeside track behind Florent and finished 8th to Florent at Caulfield, who of course has come out and run well since. So the form around Florent's pretty good, and I think Les Chevalier could get a really good run in this race. For $4.80, it is probably down towards the bottom of the price, but I think it's got a good enough chance here to run well. So I've got it in for second. In for third, number 1, Barbie's Fox. It was ultra impressive last time out on the heavy track at Caulfield. Came roaring down the outside there, and obviously if we get that heavy track again, you've got to suggest that $13 is over the odds. Louis June gets a 3 kilo claim, and it now carries 59 kilos, so big step up in the weight from the 56.5 it carried first up this prep. But like I said, we get the heavy track. Barbie's Fox could come into things again. It's got to be given a chance at the $13, so I've got it in for third. And then in for fourth, number 4, Wild Vixen, who won well at Morphettville last time out, beating Really Discreet there, who was in good form. Prior to that, a third to Street Icon, which is Street Icon's been a very consistent horse. So Wild Vixen's got a good enough chance here as well. It's not as exposed on a wet track, which is the only concern for me, but I think it's still going to be prominent enough and good enough to be within the placings. Cordilla's the one that I want to make mention of. This horse was absolutely superb winning at Pakenham last start. Has been freshened up since then. Damien Oliver keeps the ride. Has the wide barrier to contend with, but I think this horse got a lot of improvement left in it. The time it ran last time out, the sectionals it closed off out in the straight was absolutely superb. So and both has had 2 runs on a soft track, so has that wet track form. So Cordilla's one that I could also make a bit of a mention of as well in this race. But look, I'm keen to play number 3, She Shall Fly. He was very impressed with her performance last start, and I think she could win here. So I've got her on top. And then number 8, Left Charlotte for Lee, and for second, and for third, number 1, Barbie's Fox. And then for fourth, I've got number 4, Wild Vixen. And like I said, they mentioned for Cadillo. And also, look, Debt and Deficit could also win as well. It was a good win last time out at Flemington here, beating B Hunter, has since come out and won well again. So to come off the quick backup as well, 7-day backup for that horse there, and has had a bit of wet track form, has had 3 starts on soft for a win and a placing. Move on to race number 4 on the program now. It's the Almandan Handicap, benchmark 78, 1100 metres. Of course, the great Almandan, Melbourne Cup winner. Really great to see some of these old horses getting recognised in races. Obviously, not a whole lot of sponsorship going on at the moment, unfortunately. We hope that can turn around soon enough. But looking at the speed map for this race here, I'd say More Wanted will find the top with Sagara. Music Edition probably be up there. Alpha Oro would probably almost definitely be up on the pace with Mount Harib as well. So interesting here, straight track race. I'm very interested to see, but I think number 8, Ruben Blur, has got a nice chance here at the $8.50. He's a horse that has been pretty kind to me. I was very keen on him when he came out and won at Flemington last preparation at the $9, and I'm keen on him here again. He profiles it to run a similar race here as well. He's that win was on a heavy as well. It was over 1,200 metres, but he absolutely smashed that field on that occasion, beating Confidence. Finished third to Sylvia's Mother first up, which is why I was so keen on him leading into that run there. He was pretty good fourth first up, but by more than exceed. Like I said, at stand that day, it was hard to make ground, so he just boxed on okay, and that was good enough effort. He isn't a first up performer. He's had 4 starts first up for no wins and no placing. So coming to this second up, I think we'll see a bit of improvement from him. He's had 2 starts second up for a win and a placing. I think he'll run well here, and he is exposed on a heavy track. As like I said, was here up the straight at Flemington. He does run well up the Flemington straight as well. So I'm going to have him on top. I think he's got a great chance at the $8.50. So he's the one to beat for me. Headed number 11, Montenegro Man, who's got a very good each way chance here about this horse. Has got wet track form, which is what you want to see. Really gets to come into the race nice. He has Michael Rod in the saddle, of course. The experienced jockey. Fantastic to see him here. Obviously riding in Singapore. He's back here in Australia. So good to see him out riding, getting a few opportunities. So I'm looking forward to hoping he can get a winner. But hopefully not this race. It's going to be on Ruben Blur. But you can definitely each way play on Montenegro Man for Mark Kavanagh coming into this first up. Has good first up stats well. 4 starts for a win and 3 placing. So I think he'll have a good enough run first up. Number 12, Alpha Aura, I think will be in the finish. Has been very good in its 3 in all of its race starts so far. Its preparation hasn't missed a placing. I don't think it'll miss a placing here, but I just think that it's perhaps a little bit short. The $2.15 coming into a very good quality race and seeing the Flemington straight for the first time. So I go that little bit of a query, and as such, I can't dive into the $2.15. So I've got it in for third. And then for fourth, number 5, I'm telling you, who does run pretty well at the track here, and isn't a wet tracker though. That's my only concern. But the Yagi team's on fire at the moment, so I wouldn't be surprised if this horse comes out and runs a good enough race. So I've got it in for fourth. But recap the numbers for me. I'm very keen to play number 8, Ruben Blue here. I think this is his race, and I've got him on top. Out of number 11, Montenegro Man in for second. In for third, number 12, Alpha Aura. And in for fourth, number 5, I'm telling you. Moving on to race number 5 on the program now. It's the 2,000 metre efficient handicap for the 3-year-olds. Efficient, what a star horse he was as well. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Kasari and Sivar will find the top. They'll probably pair out and lead them up with Translator, probably looking to settle in behind them, and Independent Road will probably press forward as well. Look, I'm pretty keen to play number 11, November Dreaming here. I think can bounce back off its last 2 starts. I mean, you got to remember that going into that Group 2 race, the Queen of the South Stakes at Morphettville went in as a favourite there. It was disappointing. Then she came out last week against Liberate and finished 5th on that occasion there. It was a bit of a speed-dominated race there, so I do give her a bit of forgiveness there. And I think she'll just step up and true. It would be nice for her. Obviously, the breeding for her being out of Wanaka Dream and also side by Tavistock, I think she's been bred to get out and trip, and she'll run well enough here. I think she's experienced on a wet track before. She had 4 starts on a soft for 2 wins, and 1 start on a heavy track for a placing. So I think $8 as well over the odds about her. I mean, like I said, she went into a Group 2 as a favourite. She's got to be a good chance in this type of race here, being a 3-year-old handicap race. So I've got her on top ahead of number 5, Turin, who I'm really interested in seeing here. Was scratched from running at Randwick. Well, I think it might be still nom for a Randwick race there, but I think Turin can run well enough here. His experience on a wet track was the second last time out to He's a Fox on a heavy track at Sandown. I think that was a good performance there, and it can run well enough here again. So I've got it in for second. If a third, I've got number 4, He's a Fox, who was very impressive in that same race last time out. Of course, the bit of a swing in the weights here between He's a Fox and Turin. I think that could make the difference, but do concede that it was a good run on a heavy track, and it is a wet tracker, so you got to give it a good chance with Michael Poy in the saddle. 1.5 kilo claim does bring it out 56.5, so it's only carrying an extra 2 kilos from last time out, whereas and Turin stays at level weight. So I think Turin can get the better of He's a Fox this time around with the weight differential, but I've got He's a Fox in the third. I think it will be up in the finish again. And number 1, Gamekeeper, who was absolutely phenomenal last time out at Morphville over the 600 metres. Steps out of this type of trip for the first time, so a little bit of a query there, and 460. It's probably a fair enough price, and $1.95 the place. It was very impressive last time out, winning at Morpheville, but this has to carry 62 kilos. But the fact that Tony Calvin-McElroy have opted to go with the senior jockey with Damien Oliver, not an apprentice, does show that they are confident that he can carry the weight. So definitely has to be within a shout. A horse that I want to make a mention of in the race, who I haven't got my top 4 numbers, but Blue Ocean, being side by Ocean Park and out of Quizzical, I think it'll improve off that last start, Werribee maiden win over 600 metres. Was very impressive winning there, and as a horse that I think will handle the wet track nicely in the step up in distance. $23 odds is probably a little bit overs. Has to come up into a good quality race here, but I think it's probably a fraction overs. And Flanders Rain really hit the line again nicely last time out. I've always suggested this horse wanted to get up and trip, and she will do so now for the first time, so I'll be interested to see how she runs. She is a lot better though on top of the ground than a wet track, but recap the numbers for me. I'm pretty keen. Number 11, Ocean November Dreaming on top, ahead of number 5, Turin for second. In for third, number 4, He's a Fox. In for fourth, number 1, Gamekeeper. Now moving on to race number 6 on the program now. It's the Hills and Nichols Straight 6 listed race over 1,200 metres. Pretty nice field here. Looking at the speed map, I say great again. We'll lead them up with Rocks the Castle. Milwaukee won't be too far behind them. Home the Brave will be up there. Holbein and Malibu Style will probably be up towards the pace as well. Now, I'm keen to go with Rich Charm here. I think he's had a lot of issues. It's been well noted that he's had a lot of issues, but he is a horse that really enjoys a wet track. He's had 7 starts on a wet track, on a soft track for 3 wins and 3 placings. He's only ever missed a placing once from 7 starts on a wet track. So I think that being on a wet track and having that bit of sting out of the track, he might come into it here. He's had like I said, his previous form has been really good. He had the 490-day let-off before his performance at Mornington behind Diamond Effort, where he didn't show much there, but he's had a little freshen up since then. Adita Clark reckons he's ready to go, and like I said, this is a race where if he doesn't even need to be close to his best. If he's even, just close enough to his best, he'll go really well here. He's a horse that beat Keener Ray at Caulfield. He finished 6th to Redkirk Warrior in a new market, so really was around elite level form before he was spelled. Then he finished 4th to Ball of Muscle, first up in a Group 3 at Caulfield. So look, he's got some very, very good form behind him. He's not the best first up performer, but I just think that coming to a track here at Flemington, which he runs well at, on a wet track, we could see him really surprised. I think $26 and $7 the place is a good each way option to go about, considering we know how good his best is. So I've got him on top. I have number 7, Milwaukee, who's been very close to winning. He is the straight track specialist. Doesn't often miss a placing here. He finished 3rd last time out, just narrowly overcome by Pizzado. I think that he'll, I guess I did see that Mike Moroney was speaking about it, saying that John McNeil knows now that he likes ducking left when he finds the front too early, and to keep an eye out for that. So if they can iron that out, he should be hard to beat here as well. 420 is a decent enough price, but he has been finding ways to lose, and that's my only issue with him. And he comes in his 4th up now. He's obviously going to be rock hard fit now, but like I said, it's just the fact that he's hit the front and then he's sort of just, I guess, gotten a little bit lost has been a bit concerning. But he steps out now to the 1200, which I think would be much more suited for him. So he's got a good chance. I've got him in for second. In for third, number 6, Haunted, who loves a wet track. He's had 2 starts on heavy for a win and a placing, and 8 starts on a soft track for 3 wins and 4 placings. So he's got to come right into things here. He was little bit disappointing last start at Moorfield, where beaten by Asian Rookie. It was $5.50 on that occasion, but he did carry 61 kilos, comes back down to 57, and prior to that was a nice fifth behind Diamond Effort and a third behind Fabagino, who I think is very good form to be bringing to a race like this. So you can definitely take him at each way. I was 550 and 220. The place is a good each way option about Haunted, number 6. So I've got him in for third. And for fourth, number 9, Rich Itch, who I think was a bit over the odds. Is a much better second up than first up, so 3 starts second up for a win and 2 placings, and did win last preparation, second up coming into for the Flemington run. Is a horse that has run well enough at the track here. Sorry, it wasn't at Flemington where it ran second up, but it did win last preparation over 1400 at Flemington and finished third behind Ian coming up the straight at over 1100 metres. So is well experienced up the straight, is a wet tracker, $26 odds, probably just a bit over. It's about a horse who usually runs pretty well second up. So look, I've got number 3, Rich Charm on top. Just think it's a good each way play. Very open race. In for second, number 7, Milwaukee. In for third, number 6, Haunted. In for fourth, for number 9, Rich Itch. And the other horse I want to make a bit of mention of, La Tigressa can run well enough first up. It is a wet track. Has had 2 starts on a heavy track for 2 wins. Not the best first up performer, but I think he could be hitting the line well enough. Malibu Style, very consistent horse. And Home the Brave, if he can bounce back off his disappointment last night at Jungle Legend, return to the form that saw him finish third behind Geetra and Sunlight. I think he can run well enough here as well. $12, a bit of overs about him. But he does have to carry a lot of weight with 62. But the fact that James Cummings has gone with Bradwell Willow rather than Apprentice, like I mentioned in the previous race with Gamekeeper, is a positive sign. Moving on to race number 7 in the program now. It's the Benchmark 84 Bruise Anniversary Plate over 1800 metres. Look at the speed map for this race here. I'd say that Ulasaba will be up on the pace. Paul Vu will be up there. Nudge Bar, Midas Prince, Southern Rock will probably be up towards the pace as well. So a little bit of speed on this race here. Look, I'm pretty keen to play Duke of Plumpton. I was keen on him last week and he got scratched. But look, the wet track's going to suit him nicely, as we know. 2 starts on a soft track for 2 wins and 3 wins on a heavy for a win and a placing. And I think his last start performance behind Shot of Irish has a lot of merit in it. There was not a lot coming on for the back last time out. He was able to do so. Like I mentioned last week, Shot of Irish has come out and won again since. So the form line is really good behind Shot of Irish. And I think Duke of Plumpton can run well enough here and looks to get a really nice run in behind them in barrier number 2. So I'm going to have him on top at the $3.60 to win. Ahead of... Now, this is interesting. I think that... I think Arctic Shock can run well enough here at the $10. It's a horse that finished third to Supre last time out, but it did finish 3 wide, no cover there. Michael Rod takes the ride this time around off Jess Eaton with nothing against her, but just, yeah, that horse was 3 wide, no cover. Was probably a good thing beaten last time out. Gets that little bit of extra distance, comes up out to the 800 metres, which will suit this horse much better. Is a wet track, has had 3 starts on soft for 2 placings and 1 start heavy for a placing. So, look, I think that she'll improve massively off that last start performance. She's been around the mark and she's a very consistent horse. She doesn't often miss a place. She only missed a place 4 times from 12 race starts. So as an each-way player, I think she's a very good one. So I'm going to have her in for second. In for third, number 10, Aussie Nugget. He was superb. Like I said, he's not a great wet tracker, as was well noted, but he did handle the heavy track last time out. He was very good coming home from the back behind Shot of Irish at Caulfield. So like I said, similar form lines to the favourite Duke of Plumpton. So Aussie Nugget's got to be a chance here. He's in good form. So I've got him in for third. And in for fourth, I've got number 1, Masaf, who I thought was just fair last time out, but I did like the way it got through the line, and I think that stepping up to the 800 metres here could see a massive improvement from this horse. I has to carry 58.5 with Michael Poy getting a 1.5 kilo claim. And I'm interested to see how this horse goes on a wet track. It's only had the 1 start in a soft, which was last time out at Randwick, and it got through the conditions quite nice. It's never been on a heavy track before, but as I said, the horse is only going to get better the further out it steps, and I'm interested to see how this horse will run. So $9.50 is a good price about it. Other horse I didn't make a mention of, Supre last start winner was very good through the heavy, can win again. $11 about a last start winner is probably a bit of overs. And High and Drive, there's no jockey notified for it at the moment. It's only just narrowly beaten by Kiss and Cry last time out. It did lead for a long way. So, and I think the step out, the second run at 800 metres, this horse off a long spell will be very beneficial. I think it is rock hard fit now and can run well enough. But look, I'm pretty keen to play number 15, Duke of Plumpton on top. For me, it's the one to beat. Ahead of number 9, Arctic Shock in for second. In for third, number 10, Aussie Nugget. In for fourth, number 1, Masaf. I think will run a better race. And Southern Rocks, another one I want to make mention of as well, comes into its second up. It was a disappointing first up performance, but can bounce back off of that. Move on to race number 8, and it's the Apache Cat handicap over the 1600 metres open race. The feature race of the day, I guess you can sort of say, really, being race number 8. Look at the speed map here. Shot of Irish and El Passon will find the top. But I'd say Django Freeman and Charossa won't be too far behind them. Royal Ace will probably look to be up on the pace, but not a whole lot of speed in the race. And as such, look, I think that Shot of Irish will be hard to beat. Look, he's been absolutely faultless so far this preparation. 2 great wins in its last 2 starts, beating Aussie Nugget and Duke of Plumpton. Like I said, I give them both great chances in the race prior to this one. And if they come out and one of them wins, you give that bit more merit to Shot of Irish. Loves a heavy track. He's had 7 starts on a heavy track for 5 wins and had 9 starts on a soft track for 2 wins and 5 placings. So the ultimate wet tracker, you've got to have him on top, considering looks like he's going to lead and dictate the terms. So you've got to say he's going to be hard to beat. But I'm very interested in this import in Django Freeman, who looks to have a lot of ability and has a big spruik behind it. The jump out leading was quite impressive, has a good first up record, 2 starts first up for 2 wins. One of those is over 1400 and the other one was over 2000, so it comes in this over 1600. I think it could be a good enough distance for this horse, and we're interested to see how it'll run first up here in Australia. So I've got it in for second. In for third, I've got number 4, Reykjavik, who I think can bounce back here, coming back to one of his favourite tracks in Flemington. He's had 5 starts to the track for 2 wins and 2 placings. Has had the one starting heavy for a failure, so he's not the best wet tracker, but he comes out of a good enough run last time out in the Warrnambool Cup behind Order of Command, and prior to that he was a good third on a soft track behind Order of Command at Caulfield. So pretty good forms for Reykjavik to bring to this. And you look at last preparation, of course, he finished 14th behind Regal Power, of course, the subsequent All-Star Mile winner. Of course, that was in the Group 1 there. So, look, I think that he's got to be a good chance here. Reykjavik coming back to his favourite track, Lou Gem in the saddle. Let's navigate that wide barrier, but if he can do so, he'll be right in the finish. I think $9 over the odds about him. And number 2, Sosabon, he's in flying form, and I think I've got him to finish 4th for the simple fact that he hasn't minded heavy tracks. He's had 5 starts for 2 wins and a second. Obviously, his last start performance at Caulfield was on a heavy track. He's had a couple of weeks back up coming into this, so he's staying fresh, but he's had 20 starts at Flemington for only a win of 5 placings, which is my concern. So he's in form, but it's not a track that he historically runs well at, so that is a bit of a query for me. I think WT could run a good race as well, second up here. I forgive that first up run behind Buffalo River. Like I said, nothing really made ground on that day. WT steps up in distance now to 1600, be much improved, and getting a wet track, I think, could hit the line nicely. So expect to see it run well enough as well. But look, I'm pretty keen. Number 13, Shot of Irish on top for me, ahead of number 5, Django Freeman. Like I said, very interested to see how that horse can run. In for third, number 4, Reykjavik, and in for fourth, number 2, Sosi Bond. Move on to the final race of the program. It's race number 9, the Living Legends 1100 metre 3-year-old race. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Mocker will find the top with Rocker Bassarana. Sorry, almost got that one wrong. Lombardo will be up there. Can't Be Done will be up towards the speed. I'd say Hilo probably press forward as well and be up towards the speed. Interested, Absolute Flirt having the 7-day backup. Interested to see how she'll go. Sorry, not the 7-day backup, the 2-week backup. But look, really good race here to finish off the program. I'll be playing pretty wide in this because really an open race. So I'm pretty keen to go with the astrologist though. Look, he was phenomenal first though. He had one of the best closing sprints of the meeting behind High Stranger. He was flying home late on the heavy track. I think he can get the better of High Stranger here. It was really impressive finishing off late. He's had 1 second up before a win and one win from 1 second up. He's been experienced on a heavy track before. Like I said, his last start was on a heavy track and he got through it really nicely. So I expect this horse to run well here. I've got to have it on top ahead of number 1, Hilo, who brings in the Sydney form, which has been quite strong. They finished third to Hightail last time out. Has since come out 1 last weekend at the Gold Coast. So very good form around Hightail. Prior to that was third to IndyCar and third to California Zimbol. All horses that have been, really have gone out one group racing from there. So Hilo's going to be a very good chance here at the 440. Like I said, it has that outside barrier, which will be interesting to see how it plays later on the day, whether they want to go that outside rail or towards the inside. Be interesting to see. I think probably the outside might be the way that most of them will go, but it'd be interesting to see if that is the case. Number 7 Can't Be Done in for third. Very consistent horse. Comes in his first up. Experience on a wet track as well, so that's a massive positive, and has run here at Flemington twice for 2 placings, so that's what you like to see. Has a bit of straight track experience. Jamie Mott in the saddle. It's got it in for third, and then in for fourth horse I want to make mention of is number 16 Master Montaro, who I'm interested to see how this horse will run. It was very dominant winning at Pakenham, first up by 3.5 lengths. It has a lot of ability, came from a long way back on that occasion. Could be one that knocks him out here at big odds. Lombardo was disappointing first up as a $1.30 favourite, beaten by Bombshell Bell, but has a lot of ability, so could bounce back off of that, especially considering it was coming off a decent spell leading into that race there. Obviously, well, it's only 72 days, but look, it's extreme wild back, and you've got to consider that it comes in a race list of $14 now. If he can bounce back to the form that we know and the ability that he's got, he could really be prominent in a race like this, especially carrying 56 kilos. And another horse I want to make a mention of is a number 4 High Stranger. Didn't put him on numbers. I was very impressed with that first up performance, but I just thought there was a couple others that had better form lines for me coming out of that. And I think that the astrologist coming out of that race was very, very good. Coming out with Flemington Australia, I think he'll be able to run High Stranger down on this occasion. But definitely got a chance as well. High Stranger, $21 about a last start winner is definitely overs as well. So like I said, if you're playing in quaddies or running doubles, whatever, I'd be playing wide with this last leg here. So I'm gonna have number 11, the astrologist, on top for me, ahead of number 1, Highline for second. In for third, number 7, Can't Be Done. And in for fourth, number 16, Master Montaro. Now, the best bets of the program for me, looking back through the card, I'm pretty keen to play number 13, Shot of Irish, in race number 8. So it's race number 8, number 13, Shot of Irish is one of my best bets of the program. I think it'd be really hard to beat. And race number 7, number 15, Duke of Plumpton at the 3L60 is going to be my other best bet of the program. So it's race number 7, number 15, Duke of Plumpton is my other best bet. Best value, value each way plays of the program. I probably have to go back a little here, moving back towards race number 6. And look, I'm going to have Rich Charm in just because I think that his best form suggests he shouldn't be around $26. I don't think he is going to be around his best. We won't see him at his best, but even if he runs a bold enough race and close enough to the ability that we know he has, he could be winning a race like that. So I think $26 a bit of over the odds. So I'm going to have him as one of my best value bets of the program. And the other one for me is in race numbers 5, number 11, November Dreaming at $8. I think it was well over the odds as well. So there's my best bets, best value plays of the program. If you haven't already done so, go check out my Eagle Farm preview. I'll be posting my Randwick meeting later on tonight, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate all your support. Leave your comments down below, as always, and go follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Instagram, _racing tips, and Lane Racing Tips on Facebook if you want more tips outside of just Saturday. So thank you for tuning in. Good luck tomorrow. I hope you find plenty of winners and enjoy the racing tomorrow.